Hello guys, IDDQD here. I figured it'd be time to discuss a little bit of Overwatch 2. Obviously on stream we've been talking back and forth, a lot of questions seems to be attached to the whole Overwatch 2 thing. When is the game going to be launched? What do I think about the changes? What do I think about the changes happening now? What do I think about a tank being removed? What do I think about how the meta's going to look like, the characters, about Jeff leaving the team and all that kind of stuff. So I figured I've been answering these questions over and over again on stream, and I don't necessarily mind it, but I figured maybe it'd be time to compile a little bit of an Overwatch 2 video about it and actually upload it for once, because I feel like a lot of the questions that some of you guys might have will be responded to and answered in this so-called video. Anyways, I think the first point I really wanted to start talking about was actually the reason for the long wait. I think it seems to me that a chosen few have been trying to figure out why the game is taking so long to actually come out, and why we haven't had any basically new news in regards to the game. I mean, recently we had a couple new reveals that was initially not known, and one of the few things that we got to know was the changes in terms of the amount of numbers that you can have in your team. So right now we're looking at a 5v5 composition with the removal of one tank, and I'm going to go in a little bit more depth into theory on why that is. Obviously there are two sides of the coin. Some people like it, some people don't like it. My personal opinion is that I'd like to try it before I actually give my own opinion on it. I know some people are very vocal. Honestly, both sides are pretty vocal. Some people say it's a great change, some people think it's a really bad change. Unfortunately, a couple friends that I know, and some people in the Overwatch League in particular, lost their jobs upon knowing this change, which is pretty sad, and my condolences to all of them. But in terms of the actual gameplay, I think my theory behind why this is happening is for two reasons. One, and again, I want to repeat that this is my personal opinion, and I don't want anyone to feel like I'm attacking theirs, so think that I'm trying to invalidate their opinion on the matter. But my theory on why this is happening is, one, I think that the tank role has been subject of many changes over the coming years, and I think one of the few things that they have struggled with is to try and balance how tanks should be played and how strong they should be. And I think with the implementation of Flex Q, one of the few problems that came up with that was that initially no one really wanted to play tanks. I mean, rightfully so. They weren't really that strong, and they were basically you standing there with a shield and basically taking damage. They were bullet sponges, for a lack of a better word. And not a lot of people liked that playstyle, understandably so. And I think one of the few things and additions that they tried to do was to make them a little bit stronger, a little bit heftier, and a little bit more of an active playstyle, which resulted in the fact that tanks became pretty strong. I like to call them some of the most impactful roles in the game. And the reason why I say that is it's very easy to distinguish whether someone is flex queuing onto tank or if someone is an actual tank player. And I think the flex queue situation kind of ties into the problem as well, to why we are getting 5v5. Some of you have probably noticed that if you're a support player, if you're a DPS player, your queues take very long. And I think some of that reason comes down to the fact that there aren't that many tank players out there. And I think the way they're trying to work around that is that they don't really know how to balance them to a point where everyone's happy. If tanks are too weak, then simply no one wants to play them, because who wants to stand there and take damage, right? They want to have somewhat more of an active playstyle, and I think that's what they're moving to when it comes to Overwatch 2. As has been confirmed, tanks will get a huge rebalance. Most of them, such as Zarya and Sigma, and tanks that normally don't have shields in the same sense as a character like Reinhardt or Sigma, that will get complete overhauls or upgraded mechanics added to them to make them fit for that one tank role that they will now be put in the 5v5 game style. And I think one of the few important things that we need to look at is the reason for 5v5, I think, is because they sort of are looking at the problem of flex queue and the tank role as one. And with removing one tank, you're not only fixing somewhat of a strong role, but you can actually make that role even stronger because now they have one less of it. So now there is actually a purpose behind making that one tank player very, very strong. And having two might be a little bit too much, but removing one of them actually solves the problem somewhat, and also solves the flex queue problem. Basically, two birds with one stone is what I'm trying to say here. And I think that is one of the few reasons to why I believe that they're making the change. Do I like it? I don't know yet. I will say, if you're a DPS and support player, but most of DPS, I think that that you'll see very quickly that mechanical skill will tie in to how you play in Overwatch 2. That's what I believe. I think with one less tank, DPS does play a much bigger role than it did initially now in Overwatch 1, and I do think that by removing one tank that you'll see mechanical skill be on the rise again, and I do think that this is good news if you're a DPS player, maybe even good news if you're a support player, but that is my theory around why one tank is being removed for the favor of 5v5 playstyle. Moving on, I think in terms of upcoming heroes, we haven't really seen a lot. The only thing that has been teased is Sojourn, which comes equipped with what looks like a plasma rifle and comes equipped with what looks like a railgun. Personally, to me, I think this character looks badass. I think she looks like a beast, and I'm gonna play the living heck out of her. I think she looks amazing. I think she looks so much fun. For those who don't know, before Overwatch, I used to play a game called Quake, where I actually loved the plasma gun and I actually love the railgun just as much. And I think the fact that she comes equipped with both of them is like a dream come true. So I'm gonna grind the living heck out of her, and I can't wait to get my hands on her. But in terms of new hero information, we don't really have much. I think Sojourn is it. There's been a few leaks out there. I can't really talk about them because I don't know if they're true or not, and I say that hand on heart. I actually know nothing. I know not more than anyone else that's probably watching this video. I know nothing. All we know is Sojourn and everything that was basically talked about on the recent BlizzCon. Another thing I think is important to talk about is that a lot of people seem to be a little bit upset that Overwatch 1 just isn't getting the attention that it needs. And while I would like to agree with you, and I do to an extent, there is a lot of problems that Overwatch is suffering from, and I think mostly the reason behind it being so backed up and basically being backlogged on fixes is that they're trying to work really hard on Overwatch 2. From what I've seen, and I've played Overwatch 2 myself, I actually think the game is it's pretty polished, and I think it looks good. I think it just lacks the content when I last play it. I do think that the upgraded engine looks absolutely amazing. I think the new graphics and the overhaul of the engine is a success. I think the game ran way better. Noted, I did play on 60Hz monitors back then, so it might be a little bit better when you get to play on your own setup, but for 60Hz and, having to deal with downgrading from, 240Hz to 60 was quite painful. It was still quite enjoyable. The PvE, I think the best way to sort of explain it, and this is probably not giving it justice, but it felt a little bit arcadey. It felt more like a Left 4 Dead setup where you jump in with a bunch of friends and having a good time, and I think people who watch that game and compare it to maybe Left 4 Dead, not in the same sense that it's like humans versus zombies, it's just that the gameplay sort of plays the same. And to me, I think that's good news. I had a lot of fun with Left 4 Dead, and I probably spent over 500 hours in both games alone, so I can see myself, retroactively going back to it, even when having to beat it a couple of times. We'll see, though. They also talked about hero missions and stuff like that, which will consistently refresh and make the game feel a little bit new and alive. So we got that going for us. And probably they'll tie in some like origin skins or maybe some gun skins or voice lines or something unique that ties into the actual hero missions that they said they will add. So probably a lot of replayability there. In terms of PvP, I do think that Overwatch 2 is going to do a great job in terms of like optimization. I think it's going to do a great job of handling some of the bugs that we've seen, and I think that, before I get to actually give my honest opinion about how I feel about 5v5, I think I actually need to try it. So I'm going to reserve my opinion on that until I actually get to play it on a newer patch or a new build that they have. Right now, it's been a while since I played it, but the last time I did, it was a lot of fun. And speaking of which, I forgot to mention the new game mode. I think it's called Push. It was actually a lot of fun, and it seems to me that they are removing 2CP in favor for that new game mode, and I played it and it was a lot of fun. It was kind of like a TDM, and for those who don't know what that is, it's like kind of a team deathmatch. It's a constant fight back and forth, and even if you die, literally 5 seconds later, you're in the fight again. And it felt very hectic, but that's also what Overwatch is all about. And changing that game mode in favor of 2CP feels like a great addition to the game. It kind of plays out like Koth, but way faster, and both teams are kind of fighting and struggling to push this little payload with the robots on each side, and I don't know, it just felt really Overwatch to me. It felt very mechanic heavy, it felt really communication heavy, and to me that looks like a great game mode, and I can't wait to play more of it. In terms of the new looks, I think the new looks of most of the heroes that have been released thus far looks great. I think they're doing a great job on the game. I think in general, I feel like it's very important that we allow them to take the time that they need to perfect the game, to make sure that when it does come out, it feels great, it runs great, it plays great. And I think that's the most important part that we need to remember here, that even if it is taking some time, and I know that it sucks that we don't really have a lot of information in terms of when the game's coming out, when do we get to play it, when's the beta, when's the alpha, we have no information about that. And I know that some people are rather frustrated that there aren't really many news on the matter. There aren't really many updates. Even the blogs are kind of staying silent. And while this is happening, Overwatch 1 is not really getting a lot of attention either. And I do understand that it's frustrating, but I think it's important that we try and just have a little bit of faith in them. And I think it's important that we try to give them a little bit of patience, because if they get to work on the game and they don't really rush the game out too fast, I think everyone's going to have a good time, and I think the game's going to come out great. But I think that sort of wraps it up for this video for now. I just wanted to get a couple things and thoughts that I wanted out there. I know a lot of people have been asking about all of these things, and I kind of wanted to compile something quickly and throw it out there so people know that they can use that as a reference if they're wondering about anything. I think TLDR, you know what, I want them to take as long time as possible before the game comes out, and I really, really want it to be as polished as it possibly could be. I don't want to have like a rush product like, I don't know what I could compare it to, maybe like when Diablo 3 came out or whatever. I don't want anything rushed like this. I'd rather them take their time and just perfect it, because that's what Overwatch felt like when it first came out, and I'd like them to replicate the same feeling to bring back as many people as humanly possible. That being said, I do think that with a little bit of news, maybe perhaps in the future, I think we'll rekindle a lot of people's attention for the game again, and I do think that Overwatch 2 might be able to pull back a lot of people that have, was once lost. But yeah, I kind of just wanted to collect my thoughts on the matter. Thank you so much if you were listening. I do appreciate it. If you guys want more of me, you can find me at IDDQD on Twitch, which is basically twitch.tv/IDDQD. I respond to any questions. If you have anything about this video or anything about Overwatch in general, come take a look, come hang out. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope you guys have a kick-ass day, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.